attempts by political parties rushing to declare results before the EC's official announcement. We urge all political parties and citizens to be law-abiding and remain calm as we wait on the Electoral Commission to complete its work and declare the official results. We equally remind all citizens to follow the COVID-19 pandemic safety measures, including wearing of nose masks and hand washing. CODEO expresses sincere gratitude to the thousands of voters who dedicated their time to ensure that Ghana once again went through this democratic exercise of electing new leaders to govern the country in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Well, so you just heard the Sheikh Karimi Al-Shaibu CODEO's press conference. That press conference they held earlier in the day on their monitoring reports, amongst others. Well, Benjamin Akapo, it appears that generally they have a good report, a good situational report in terms of the voting and the tension and the situation in the country. But I must say also that earlier, before we went on the break, we had 204 results out of the 275.
And now some add-ons.
Yeah, now we have 227.
So I guess a picture is being, created bit by bit, because 204, that would have left us with some 71 constituencies to go. Yeah. And so with 220 plus, it means gradually we're inching for, a completion of the entire polls. And that would also mean 48 to go. And that would also mean, the magic number. The US, the Electoral College, you're looking at 270. That's their magic number. When you come here to Ghana in our parliament, it is 138. And so whichever party is able to secure that or above, would make the difference. Now, it's interesting because there is that independent candidate, Honorable Esiama, the Fomena candidate, who actually went independent and has won in Fomena. Whether he could make the difference, because in the end, if you add 137 to 137, you would get 274, which means there would be only one person that could actually add on to make the difference in determining who becomes the majority or the minority.
We've heard him prior to the elections saying that
we know where he's going to
this. He says he's winning this for the NPP, whether they like it or not, and he's won it. So it will be interesting to hear.
So technically, he's aligned.
Yeah, we'll hear from him and see if indeed that position still holds. But we'll check on the presidential how the people voted in Fomena. Of course, that's a safe seat for the NPP as well. So as it stands now, 227 out of the 275 constituencies, representing about 82.5%.
Right.
So that's where we are, inching very close to the final result here on your election headquarters. Shortly, people have been asking about the parliamentary elections. Who has won? Who is their new MP, or has their MP fallen? who is crying at this point. People are asking. You were saying earlier where you voted, and of course.
So I voted in Dade Kotopon, and it's an interesting picture there because I should have.
Lordina also voted.
Lordina Mahama, yes, indeed. And I should have been voting in the Ayawaso area. But, the dynamics of it, work and getting a center to register at, that actually pushed me to, a polling station or a voting center, registration center at around the Ghana International School, which is actually where I ended up voting. Not my own constituency, but because I registered there, I ended up voting there. But pretty interesting in that constituency because George Nyanyofio, who was competing on the slot for the MPP, he actually gave Rita quite a run for her money. Rita Na Odole Sowa. But she eventually coming through with the NDC's candidate. She actually coming through with the win in there. But the picture created in the Greater Accra region is pretty interesting. Now, I was sharing earlier that the Greater Accra region has added on quite a number of votes, a chunk of votes between 2016 and 2020. If you look at the add-ons with the 17 million voters we have, the Greater Accra region has grown by about 500,000 votes. Now, you juxtapose that with a stronghold of, the MPP, for example, the Ashanti region. The add-on is 141,000 votes. So it tells you just how important, when we have the board back, just how important the Greater Accra region is in terms of the voter population. And as the chips fall in their places, rightful places, if you like, we would see a bigger picture that will be painted by the Greater Accra region, which will actually portend who is going to carry the day. I'm not saying that generally the Greater Accra region is the only region to look at. The central region is there, and now we're seeing swings in certain areas that we never even, thought of happening. In the eastern region, some seats that have been won annexed by the NDC, simply, unexpected. So quite a lot to look at from different angles of the country. And one thing I can say as of now, it is not done until it's done. It's not over until it's over.
So I told you that you're feeling touchy. You see, you couldn't speak without touching the wall. I was hoping you would do so. I intentionally would not make it work right now. So that we'll see if you can.
Time will tell.
Because you can still speak without touching that wall. But shortly, we'll be going into the Situation Room also and join George Addo Jr. and, of course, Gary Al-Smith to tell us more, because they have a clearer picture of the MPs. We've had Adenta, for instance. Now, Yabobi Samoa has lost that seat. Yep. It's now Mohammed Ramadan. We've had Medina also. Francis Xavier Susu is now there. Abubakar Sadiq has been giving it the boot. We'll check, because a number of people are asking what's happening in Crow, for instance. Elizabeth Afolekwe, we're told, has also lost a seat.
Another interesting one would be Lejo Kuku. Where Dr. Okoboy seemed to have done quite a lot, and that is a constituency that has created quite an image for itself.
Oh, no.
That constituency has decided that, the votes, they'll give them out tot every 4 years. And so 4 years is all you get, and no matter what you do, they will clear you. That's a very interesting constituency there. Of course, in Klote Kwale, we had Dr. Zaneto Rawlings taking that. But like I said, it's a thorny area. I mean, all of these constituencies in the Greater Accra region is going to be hard fought, hard won, and people are going to lose seats, others are going to gain seats. But I would have been interested in looking at Swaman in the Western region as well. My interest would be that in 2016, the NDC won there with just 12 votes. 12. And this year as well, the NDC has won. I'll be interested in knowing what the numbers are and what the margin was this time around.
Okay, all right. So let's quickly go to the Situation Room now. And Gary Al-Smith and George Addo Jr., they have everything we need to know when it comes to the results. Guys, take us away.
Thank you, guys, from the Joy News studios. And you're still on the election headquarters. Don't forget that we are very interactive with our coverage. We are getting to the point where we are aggregating so much information. And so if you head onto our Twitter and want the latest, just check our pinned tweet. We have all the provisional results in very handy artworks for you to scroll through and understand what's going on. But the multimedia group is all over this election from across the country, and George will tell you about their
My Joy online app. You need to get your My Joy online app. You are able to listen to radio. You're able to get all the updates across sport, whether it's Love FM, whether it's Joy FM, whether it's Adum FM, whether it's Adum TV. You've got the opportunity to do that. So go right now, Google Play Store, look for My Joy online app. You download it and you are safe. It's important to be safe at this point because the fake news is rising and we're here to give you the best. Make sure you're right with us. And of course, we have to get into the social media trends. Gary, straight away onto Twitter. We have some news that is really jumping at us right now, Gary.
As it stands, some new news from John Dumelo from Ayawaso West Wogon. He's taken to Twitter, which is his preferred mode of communication throughout the campaign period, to let us know that he has officially written to the district electoral officer to request a recount across the constituency due to what he calls several irregularities. And this is the letter. He says, I humbly write to your office seeking for a recount of all ballot boxes across the constituency. This is due to several irregularities that have been identified in some of the polling centers. One of such irregularities was swapping of my figures and that of the NPP candidates' figures at polling centers. Counting on your usual cooperation, signed John Seto Dumelo. So that is the new news coming from the camp of Ayawaso West Wogon. That's the latest as well. But
it's very important considering the margin, just 2,000 votes. So it's really, really tight. We'll be keeping close tabs on exactly what happens here. So Gary, let's now help you to, kind of have an idea of your favorite members of parliament and ministers of state who have lost their seats. Very, very important.
Speaking of the members of parliament and ministers of state, John Mahama.
Let's go to John Mahama right now.
Has set the tone for probably something that's going to be interesting because he posted about an hour ago on his Facebook and Twitter saying that thank you for voting for change and giving the NDC a working majority in the next parliament. I don't know what indication that is or what they know in the NDC camp, but that is probably a harbinger of what they think is going to happen in the next parliament. Let's zero into what we have in terms of our figures as well at the election headquarters, George. Let's take a look at one of the interesting stories. So if you go to our website, myjoyonline.com, our dashboard is obviously populated and filled with election news and material. We have a live stream of the election day coverage on Join You, so you can see what's going on here. If you go to myjoyonline.com, we have live updates from our very, very hardworking My Joy Online team, aggregating news and opinion from across the country and facts also. The top stories there are that the NPP and the NDC both are claiming victory, and Dumelo loses, some George wins big in the Pram area. Also, George, we have some headlines here.
Yeah, we've got Titus Glover kicked out of Parliament. We're checking that when we look at the list of your favorite MPs and members of ministers of state who are out. EC extends timeline to declare presidential results. This came in not long ago. Former energy minister retains Prue East constituency seat. And then now we get to what we want to take you to. Election 2020, the incumbent MP or NPP MPs who failed to retain their seats. So this is where we come to your favorite members of Parliament and indeed, ministers of state who have lost out. Let's see if we can go through.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Hey, Charlie. My network is really killing me. I have to pay my uncle's workers via mobile money, but the charges alone, it's about 380 cedis. Charges alone just to send money? That's $10 of cement already, my guy. Listen, bro, you can save money on charges if you move to Vodafone Cash now. Vodafone Cash? Mm-hmm. But my network is... Hey, sending money on your network, you pay. Sending money on your network to other networks, you pay. But guess what? Sending money on Vodafone Cash is free. Sending money on Vodafone Cash to all other networks is also absolutely free. No charges at all on Vodafone Cash. So tell me, what are you still doing on that your network? Massa, look sharp, then move to Vodafone Cash. Hey, make a change the SIM right now. Yeah, sending money on Vodafone Cash to all other networks is now absolutely free. Send unlimited amounts of money as many times as you like for free. Just dial *110# now to send money.
The future is exciting. Ready?
The lunch was so cool, refreshing the family. providing clean, refreshing water and contributing to making our environment safer with our recycling plants and lighter plastic initiatives. Balaqua Mineral Water, for the greater good. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
What would you do with 50 gigabytes free data? Would you binge watch TV all day? Would you download FIFA 21? How about downloading your entire coursework? Or you do all at the same time? See, Surfline has a way of giving you value like no one does. 50 gigabytes free data when you get yourself a Surfline device. Now that's a sledgehammer. Don't miss out on anything. Get yourself a Surfline device today from any Surfline shop and get 50 gigabytes free data to do all you ever wanted on Ghana's only true 4G LTE network.
Surfline, it's about time.
Not going to be part of the next parliament. It's a big one there. As we do the count, remember, we spoke in about 21, 41 of them losing out in the primaries, and 21.
If you remember, if you were watching us between midnight and 6 a.m., Western Amwa and Evans Mensah spent a lot of time on Doma West and Doma East as well, saying that Doma West had gone green and Doma East had gone blue as well. So they were giving us an explanation of why that is so. Next is George Janba for Wenchi, and he's the Minister for Planning. Must be difficult for Georges today because a lot of them are quite...
The last one standing.
The last man standing. George, what's the meaning of your name again?
George means farmer.
Farmer?
Yeah, so if you couldn't win...
My goodness.
You didn't do
Probably
it.
Didn't take their tools to the farm.
Yeah, maybe just that.
Don't blame your farming implements.
No, I'm not. I won't. So from George Janba, we go to Derek Odro in Koranza North, Deputy Defense Minister. Couldn't defend his seat there.
Well, Derek Odro, you might remember him. Among the media circles, he has a bit of an infamy because he dealt with our parliamentary correspondent some time ago seriously. He said that essentially the parliamentary correspondents contribute to MPs not being loved by their constituents, and that they should not forget that it is their job to bring the people closer to the parliamentarians. I remember the quote he used. Yes, he said that, why do you treat us as if we are from the Congo Basin? And so there's a popular soundbite. I'm sure when all is said and done, we'll play it for you. Just to remind Derek Odro of that soundbite as well. It's one of the favorite soundbites of our parliamentary correspondents.
And you love that.
Joseph Opoku. Moving on,
we'll go to Charles Kunedu Yadom in Koranza South. And that was another, big one. As we learned from our top political analysts with Winston and Evans Mensah last night. Of course, from Charles Kunedu Yadom, we go to Abena Droa Mensah, Asin North. She's lost a seat as well.
Asin North. That's a very interesting place as well.
Yes, very, very interesting one. Then we go on to Gary
Barbara Asha AEC, Cape Coast North, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, a very popular figure among that sector as well. She won just recently, and it's interesting that she's lost the seat also. 13, and as you can see them on your screens, we are showing you what they look like.
Next, we go to Francis Kingsley Kujo Akumfi, Deputy Fisheries Minister. That's another one. He's lost out. We have, I'll go quickly because I can see a big one there. Tema East, we'll get there. Alexander Aban, Gomwa West, Deputy Minister for Communications.
So the two... All right. So we'll go to Alexander Aban shortly.
Yes.
But Francis Kingsley Kujo
Ekumfi, Deputy Fisheries Minister.
One of the reasons why we are told from the analysis from our guys is that he didn't get in touch with the people. And when it came to the fisheries, they expected that being in the kind of ministry that he was in, he was going to help them
it didn't quite work out.
It didn't quite work out.
And for them, they did not see the direct relationship.
Exactly.
And how he exactly helped them, because they expected a lot more. I mean, the fishermen in the area, and that didn't work out. Now, Alexander Aban, I've just spoken about him as well. So Joseph Tete, Apa Manyakrobo, Deputy Eastern Regional Minister, right? So that Joseph Tete, because I went to Alexander Aban. So now we're on Joseph Tete Aban, Apa Manyakrobo. That is Deputy Eastern Regional Minister, lost his seat there as well.
He couldn't keep it as well. And so if you look at 14 and 15, Alexander Aban, Deputy Minister of Communications, together with Mr. George Anda, both men at the Ministry of Communications lost their seat as well. Lots of homework to do. So, yes, we can see on the screens now. Joseph Tete, who has lost his seat. He is on the left on your screens.
Apa Manya Krobo.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go now to Ebenezer Nate of Ablekuma Central.
That was a big one.
Big one, fiery. And it was fiery as well.
That was a big one.
In coming to this one. Huge loss for the MPP, of course. How we got that changing? We'll see that for you. So that's Ebenezer Nate, Ablekuma Central.
Ablekuma Central was for a long time, yes, seen as one of the, not exactly the flashpoints, but one of the areas where there was the propensity to have trouble as well. So it was a fiery contest there.
That is a big one.
Lost to a first-timer, also, it must be said.
That's right.
Titus Glover is the big one. Now, it was one of the areas where we had a lot of fake news between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. There was a news apparently. Remember, the last time he won by only 3 votes.
Yeah.
The news circulating was that he had won by 6 votes. In fact, people were saying that he had moved from being MP3
to MP6.
And to MP6 as well. But apparently that was a bit of fake news. And Titus Glover has lost that seat. There he is there in your screens, on your shot, on the left, to the left of your screens as well. That is a big, big loss to the MPP.
It's another big one.
Yes, that's another big one. He's been very, very busy in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
The former Timpani MP right now, Joseph Pemka Dindiok. Joseph Dindiok Pemka, Deputy Attorney General, long hail to be one of the sharpest growing political minds in the NPP as well, and he's lost it to be a huge loss to the party. Let's move on to number 19.
Hopefully he can still render his services to our topmost program, Newsfile, what we call him. We'd love to hear from you always. Adongo Frank Fuseni Isabella, Deputy Upper East Regional Minister. Okay, losing out there. That's another one. And
do we have Frank Fuseni Adongo? We don't have that one. We don't Anthony Cabo. Now that's a big name.
That's a big name.
That's a big name.
I was looking. One was actually looking out for when the results are being declared, and this one was unfortunate for him, Laura, and also Deputy Roads Minister. This is a big one and a big loss for the MPP. We go to the next one, shall we?
Yes.
Okay. Michael Jatto is there. Karachi East, Deputy Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation. Wow.
Michael Jatto, we have that one.
The pictures,
so we will show you,
all right, good.
What he looks like as well.
So you can see on the screen right now, Michael Jatto.
There he is on your shot.
In your shot, there you go.
Michael Jatto is the one to your left.
Okay.
He lost to the NDC.
Few more to end this. Paul Asian Jomoro, Deputy Minister for Chieftaincy. Okay, then we have Barbara Oting Jesse.
That's her name. That's her name. Minister for Tourism. Yeah, she's been very active in the past.
Very active.
24 months, particularly because of the year of return and all the activities that have been going on around that event and everything else. Kofi Atebu Amantem Bono East Regional Minister. Gabriel Osei Tai. Lejo Kuku is another big one as well.
Is a big one.
Making all the headlines because Dr. Okoboy has been very, 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 instrumental this year and has had a lot of publicity, lots of airtime because of his work with the COVID pandemic, at least the local action that has been taken.
Of course, you had your little head-to-head. You had your little Champions League. Many of that year Champions League there. And we've got Elizabeth Afolekwe Kroll. That's Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture.
That's also been a big one.
Big one, I think.
Yes, so Lejo Kuku on your shot right now. We will look at Elizabeth Afolekwe Quay. That was one of the big ones that was being looked at in the Greater Accra region because of the undercurrents in that area. Krowa is always a big fighting zone as well.
Always battleground. You want to call it? If that was big, this is even bigger. Go on to the next name, Gary.
Hajia Alima Mahama for Nalerigu and Gambaga. You know, Nalerigu is one of the new regional capitals that we saw a lot of back and forth. You know, when the new regions were being brought to bear, all the agitation and all the lobbying, you know, around which place should be made the new regional capital.
I'm going to be safe.
Yes, we have Nalerigu, and so you will see Hajia Alima
on your screen. On your
Mahama
screen right now.
On your screens right now. That's her.
Yeah, she's one.
She's a former MP now, and she'll look to come back strong as well in that area. It's one of the areas where I think the MPP will look at because, you know, they made huge gains in the 5 regions of the north.
Yeah.
But the gains in the parliamentary side were not concomitant, and so there's a lot of analysis, as you would have heard from our...
you said what, they were nowhere?
Concomitant.
Okay, but you should have actually... I wanted them to have a feel of what happened in the Situation Room. Because right you went, they were like, What did that? Okay, the final one, Gary, just the final one.
Okay.
Upper East Regional Minister Paulina Abayenge. I hope I got that right.
Yes. She's not an MP.
But of course lost elections in the Navrogo constituency. So that's important to know. So there we go. Your favorite.
Right. So let's go to Gabriel. The producers tell me that we have Gabriel Osei from Tyne constituency as well. This is what he looked like. Of course, the Tyne constituency is remembered for a lot of activity in the 2 elections ago when we had that place becoming the AKA the Florida of Ghana elections as well. A sleepy town that became the cynosure and the focus of all eyes.
And you are never sure what you're thinking. You are never sure what you're thinking.
As well. So they're a bit like Adentan. You never know. You can never be too sure as well. So that is the theme for this segment of the Situation Room, where we are focusing on the MPP MPs who have lost the battle as well in the battleground of the 2020 parliamentary elections.
Well, we encourage you to continue. We encourage you to continue tweeting at us, and remember to use hashtag election headquarters. We will prove to you once again why we're at the election headquarters. I've told you, forget about all the calls, all the commands. It's one that must come from the election headquarters, and that's why we're here. We have a fantastic looking Situation Room. Everything is right in there. You'll hear from us shortly. But I love these ones, Gary. Yeah?
Yes, indeed. Somebody is tweeting about us.
Okay.
We're looking good. And our colleague says 227 constituencies done. MPP has 51.59%. The NDC has 47.05%. He says almost there. We can tell you right now that at the end of it all, when it's all said and done, all the election references, all the election nerves, all the election hubs, all the election commands, they all gather here at the election headquarters. Gary L. Smith, George Addo here, taking you to the Joy News Studio for the final countdown.
The warehouse, though. George Addo Jr. and Gary L. Smith, what a pair. And this is more like, I'm sure you'll be engaging this world now when we get to the Champions League, amongst others. Gary, I want to hear you on that. Okay, so they just left me at this point. So, of course, now you have a rough idea as to who is your MP and whether your MP lost or he retained that seat. Interestingly, a lot of deputies lost their seats. Eslos lost 2 of her deputies as MPs. But I don't know.
She did win in Ablekuma West.
Of course. And it looks like the people of Ghana, they've helped President Akufo-Addo, if he wins, to, do a quick reshuffle. So he hasn't done a reshuffle in a while. So if he wins, if the president retains the seat, then it appears that a lot of reshuffle has been done.
I guess a lot of the president's work has been done for him in terms of ministerial appointments, especially with the deputy ministers.
But most of his deputies.
Looking at all of these new entries into parliament and all of that, you cannot but feel for the likes of Dr. Okoboy, because when you look at the constituency and the work some of them were doing, I mean, we've seen what John Peter Amewu has done in Hohoi, which is pretty surprising if you look at what the president, the presidential nominees got there, and then you look at the parliamentary voting. But something else that interests me as we get ready to wrap up, one of the newly created regions, Northeast, And of course, Wale there. And you would ask yourself about the supposed Bawumia effect, because apart from
is really an effect. Is it supposed or
in fact, I mean, looking at the concentration of votes there for the MPP, pretty interesting when you look at the dynamics all the way from 1992 till now. So you begin to ask yourself what really the effect was.
What are you picking up? I'm sure you've been monitoring that trend.
You could say that the MPP has won that region, looking at the number of constituencies.
Of course, we've already put that out. Northeast, of course, has
exactly.
It appears that is a reward for the creation of these new regions, because OT also rewarded the president for carving out. You can say that for carving out
in the OT region, the NDC's footprint is very clear there. In fact, they've taken all the seats in OT, including the Kratche area, Kratche East, where we're just talking about, with Michael Jatto actually losing his
the only seat
there.
Though. Yeah.
So pretty interesting dynamics. And the likes of
but you were telling me about the Bawumia effect.
So basically, when you look at that portion, it's a new region, so you can't really talk about consistency in there. But if you look at the fact that it was carved out of the northern region, of course, we have the Savannah region as well. Also. And you look at the concentration of votes that the MPP has caught, it paints a certain picture about the inroads being made into that part of what used to be the northern region. So interesting dynamics. But for me, I want to see all 275 constituencies before I can jump and say, look, I don't want to make any projections ahead of any hub or warehouse or nerve center. We are your election HQ, and we bring you information that is, crisp, straight on point. And we've
given you 227 out of the 275 constituency, and that's how
that would leave us with 48.
Yeah, 48. We have 48 more to go.
Right.
Your math is very good. So we have 48 more to go. And, of course, your election headquarters will bring that to you. This is your election digest. And, of course, Benjamin, there are a number of things that has been happening. We're waiting for a new date or timeline in terms of, I'm hoping it's not date. I'm hoping it's just time that the EC will give us.
Please don't go to date. Let's stick to time.
Date, it will still be 8
No, let's stick to time, because if the EC comes out to say, on second thought we're going to do some other day, that kind of let's face the facts, that kind of stress we don't need. Let's do this once and for all. Unless we have a runoff on our hands, which that would change all the dynamics. We'll have to wait an extra 21 days, go through this entire process again, come and sit here, do all the analysis anew. And honestly, not in terms of finances, money that we're going to expend, not in terms of going through all of this. We don't want to do this again. Unless we are forced to do it, then we'll have to do it.
Then we'll have to do it. We wait for the Electoral Commission. I'm sure a new timeline will be communicated. Where are the election commission's headquarters? But let's touch base with our correspondents. Elton Brobe has been embedded in the president's team all through during campaigning up until now. Maxwell Agbagba is also with the former president, John Dramani Mahama. But let's join Elton Brobe. They are also getting ready to receive the EC's declaration. We're all waiting. It was supposed to be 5, not going to happen. But let's check on Elton Brobe, shall we, Benjamin?
So
you can take Elton Brobe at this point at the residence of the president. I'm sure it's the Nima residence. Elton Brobe, thanks for joining us. Paint a picture of how the situation is at the president's residence to us.
Thank you, I hope you are good. It's been a while.
Yeah, I missed you.
Right. So I'm currently coming to you live from the residence of President Akufo-Addo, his Nima residence. So the background, you can see they've set up a stage. You have the Ghana flag and another flag. From where I'm standing, I'm sure you can have a look at it. So the flag, you see the Ghana flag and then another flag, and then podium where President Akufo-Addo is expected to speak to the nation. My information is that statement will come after the Electoral Commission has declared the results of the presidential elections, and all of us are here waiting for that announcement to come. We don't know when. The EC said 5. They came up with a statement saying that they've moved this to another time, but they are yet to tell us which time that will be. So everybody is here, the media, everybody is set up. The President Akufo-Addo himself is in his residence. I'm sure that the Vice President is with him, plus some leading members of government. A while ago, the Speaker of Parliament came through and left. And then, so there's been flurry of activities here in his Nima residence. People have been coming in and out, especially senior